Kitty Benson. I'm the minister here. We have our highest good band to sing and play with us today. Thank you. Welcome to our 4th of July weekend celebration, and we'll be serving hot dogs and hamburgers after the service. Don't you wish you were here? Just kidding, you guys. Just kidding. Donuts, muffins, anyone? How about that? Okay, so we have lots to talk about today in regards to our rights and powers, those inalienable rights. But I'll save that for later because first we want to sing a little. What's the first song we're singing? Stream of Good. So this is, if we get this, if we understand these words and take them into our heart and own them as truth, then everywhere we go, you will find your good flowing to you. See how easy that is? Just look for it, think about it. Talk about it, and let's sing about it. If you want to stand as you're able, or take a seat, whatever feels good to you, let's sing.
Good morning, everyone. Let's sing together. Stream of good flows through me. Stream of good, how the sweet waters roll. Stream of good flows through me. Stream of good, how the sweet waters roll. It is rushing, it is pouring, it is flowing. It is God, it is good, I am floating, moving with the water, my source, my supply, my stream of good flows through me. Stream of good, how the sweet waters roll. Stream of good flows through me. Stream of good, how the sweet waters roll. It is rushing, it is pouring, it is flowing. It is God, it is good, I am floating, moving with the water, my source, my supply, my stream of good. Rushing, it is pouring, it is flowing. It is God, it is good, I am floating, moving with the water, my source, my supply, my stream of good. Moving with the water, my source, my supply, my stream of good. Moving with the water, my source, my supply, my stream of good. How's that saying go? Just go with the flow. Are you going with the flow this morning? And all that we imagine, all that we desire, all that good comes to and through and as us, as we flow and as we believe. Yes? Yes. Withholds nothing from me. Spirit withholds nothing from me. Spirit withholds nothing from me. It
done as I believe.
Let's sing it again. Oh,
Spirit withholds nothing from me. Spirit withholds nothing from me. Spirit
withholds nothing from me. It is done
as I believe.
I declare joy, joy like a fountain. I declare peace, peace like a river. I declare faith, faith to move mountains. It is done as I believe. Here we go. Spirit
withholds nothing from me. Spirit
withholds
nothing from me. Spirit
withholds
nothing from me. It is done as I believe.
Let's take it up.
Spirit withholds nothing from me. Spirit withholds nothing from me. Spirit withholds nothing from me. It is done as I believe.
I declare joy, joy like a fountain. I declare
Peace, peace like a river.
I declare
Faith, faith to move mountains. It is done as I believe. Spirit withholds nothing from me. Spirit withholds nothing from me. Spirit withholds nothing from me. It is done as I believe. It is done as I believe. It is done as I believe.
oh yes, I believe.
So we missed you last week. What were you up to?
Oh, if you didn't know, I was at Unity Village or the Empower Posse Music Fest.
Yeah! Ooh, that sounds like fun.
Oh, you know what? It was great. And it's not that, like, I don't get the blessings here. I do, trust me. But I was just talking to Lori, right? Lisa, sorry, it was L.
It was an L word.
4 letters. But I was talking to Lisa earlier, and we were talking about it's hard to give from a vessel that's empty. So when I go and do things like that, don't you feel that when you
Yes,
go? You just
I
get
know.
filled up. So I'm filled up. Filled up. So, and lovely to see so many
Love
of
that.
our musician friends who are there. And
Yeah.
I've got new songs I was
Yay!
writing down. I'm like, oh, I
Yay!
like that one they're singing. I like that one. So we should expect more new songs for sure.
Now, is it true that they, one of the things they do during the week is they stay up all night and they party in each other's rooms and sing songs? They still do that?
What happens at Empower? No. They actually have something called a pajama jam.
Okay.
And that happens one of the nights. And they kind of like, and it's every musician from like Daniel Naymad and Denise Rosier and everyone gets assigned to a bedroom. There are like 4 or 5 people assigned to a bedroom, or a room, as it were in this case. And all these rooms are doing music all at the same time, and people are wandering from room to room, right?
In your pajamas?
In your pajamas.
My kind of story. Love that. Love that. Well, we're glad to have you home.
Thank you.
Yeah. Let's just take a moment to feel that energy within ourselves, that joy, that presence of spirit that comes alive as we sing, and we think on those words that we sing this morning, knowing the truth of who we are. That spirit withholds nothing, that it continues to flow freely through us as life in our bodies, as love in our hearts, as wisdom in our minds. And in that truth, we say, yes, let it be. Amen. Will you help me speak our invocation? The words are up here on the screen. Together, there's only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, the all-loving goodness of God. Thank you. You may be seated.
eternal, infinite being. We sing in the name of the one, eternal, infinite being. We sing in the name of the one, eternal, infinite being. We sing in the name of the one, eternal, infinite being, who has many names, yet is beyond all names and forms. Who has many names, yet is beyond all names and forms. We come together for healing, revealing who we are. We come together for healing, revealing who we are. We sing in the name of the one, eternal, infinite being. We sing in the name of the one, eternal, infinite being, who has many names, yet is beyond all names and forms. Who has many names, yet is beyond all names and forms. We come together for healing, revealing who we are. We come together for healing, revealing who we are. We sing in the name of the one, eternal, infinite being. We sing in the name of the one, eternal, infinite being. We sing in the name of the one, eternal, infinite being. We sing in the name of the one, eternal, infinite being.
Can you hear me? Yeah, I think you can hear me. Happy 4th. Happy 4th. My mama would say that if she were alive today. Happy 4th. And yet it's only the 2nd, so we've got to work on that. So picture, okay, quick, somebody do the math. How many years ago was 1776? Anybody? Anybody? Susan? 247 years. Okay, the mathematician stepped in. Is that right? 247 years? Okay, they were partying big time in America because they were free from the British tyranny, British taxes, British rule about who they could worship, how they could worship. and put together this document, Declaration of Independence. There's just part of it, the preamble, that I love so much that I think is really enlightened. We haven't quite lived into it yet, but it's calling to us. So let's speak it again together just so we can be reminded. Up here on the screen. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So we do know that we've got a ways to go before we truly have found a way to express that and allow it to be expressed in all human beings. So we've got our work to do there. I mean, it took us from 1776 to 1860, what? For our slaves to be freed. 65, 64, 65? Okay. And in the 1920s, for women to get the right to vote. Woohoo! Yes. And still, we've got work to do. Would you agree? Yes. So it seems, according to the preamble, that it is our inalienable right. It says unalienable, but I think it's more common today to say inalienable, and the dictionary says we can say it either way. So I'm saying inalienable rights, and that these rights were endowed by our Creator. And so that kind of indicates that inherent in our nature are these rights built into us. Because when we look on the definition of inalienable up here on the screen, it's something that can't be taken away, and it also can't be given. And we can't be separated from it. So when you think of that, you think, okay, it's inherent in my nature, and we look to our human nature to find that life and liberty and pursuit of happiness. And how are you doing with that? Probably not so well. I mean, once in a while it works, but I can think of countless experiences where human beings do not have a quality of life, are not able to pursue their happiness, right? So maybe it's not the human nature that has been endowed, because if it's God, the Creator, doing the endowing, it must be that part of ourself that is like God. So if God is spirit, we are spirit. If God is spirit, we are spirit. That's where the endowment comes, is in our spirit to experience and to be life, liberty, and happiness. And our spiritual nature is ready to be that. It's all right here within us. We just get to learn how to express that, how to reveal the Christ in us, the Spirit in us. So for the next 3 weeks, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about our inalienable rights and powers that are inherent in our spiritual being, which is the truth of who you are. It's your very nature. And while in 1776 the colonists were revolting against the tyranny of the British Empire and fighting back with everything they could in their human constructs, I'm not asking you to do that in order for you to know your rights. I'm asking you to put the human constructs away. We don't need to start another revolution. In case someone didn't know that. It's not about that. It's not about making sure that our party is always in control, whatever that party is. It's not about getting everyone to vote and think like me. It's not about getting a judge in your back pocket. That's not the kind of transformation we're talking about, and it's not what releases our inalienable rights. Our true freedom is going to come from within. And I know that many of you know that our real tyrant is not the British Empire. Our tyrant is what? Who? Ego. That part of our human self that is constantly trying to dominate. And its weapon of tyranny is the weapon of fear or worry. Our inherent nature in human beingness was designed to be afraid if our life is being threatened. But that's not usually why we're afraid. We're usually awake at nights worrying about money. We're worrying about whether we'll have enough. We're worrying about aging. We're worrying about losing love or never finding love. We worry about whether we're going to get fired or not. We worry about who has power over us or might have power over us. Who's taking my good or could take my good? How many times do we lay awake thinking about what that person thinks of me and what they said about me? That's the tyranny of the ego. That's what keeps us from our freedom and our rights. That's what needs to be addressed here. So this fear is something that Paul saw in Timothy. He wrote a couple letters to Timothy in the New Testament. And the Apostle Paul could see that not only was Timothy afraid to get out there and talk about the Christ within and explain how Jesus lived his life and show us how to do that as well, because they were getting persecuted and even put to death. So he was afraid of that. But I think Paul also saw in Timothy that he was just a little bit timid about putting himself out in life, period. Could be some low self-esteem there. And he was trying to get him to set that aside. So up here on the screen, here's what he wrote in his second letter, chapter 1, verse 7. God did not give us a spirit of fear, but rather a spirit of power and of love and of self-discipline. We talk about those powers in Unity a lot. That power of, or spirit of power is not the same thing as a spirit of fear. As a matter of fact, God did not give us that. It doesn't say we don't have fear. It just says God did not give us that spirit of fear. And if God didn't give it to us, then it only leaves the ego, and our work here is about breaking free from that. And guess what? You're the only one who can do that for you. And you can't do it for anyone else. So I know we probably have loved ones that we feel like if they would just get over this, whatever it is, limitation or level of consciousness that's holding them back. But we cannot do that for them. It has to be done individually. We have to look at it and see what it really is and acknowledge that our true power is going to come from spirit. So we're going to talk about this spirit of power today. And when I say power, many human beings think that's what they need in order to be happy, some kind of power. And I'm not talking about the power that we gain because now we're the CEO of the company and we're controlling and making decisions. I'm not talking about the power that we seem to exude when we have lots of money. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about the power that you gain when you lift a lot of weights and build a lot of muscles. Not that kind of strength. I'm talking about a spiritual power that is one of our 12 powers, and Charles Fillmore describes it this way, up here on the screen. He's our co-founder of Unity. The thinking faculty in humankind makes each person a free agent because it's our creative center. In and through this one power, we establish our consciousness and we build our world. So our power has something to do with how we think. We all have the right to think, and we all have the power over that thinking. There's a couple things we should know as we go into this power. To understand what thoughts are, first of all, it was a few years ago we started hearing that thoughts are things. And that was hard for some of us to grasp. But thoughts are things in that they begin as energy, right? Just like this lectern here is made of energy and my body is made of energy, our thoughts are made of energy. And that energy vibrates, and it vibrates at different frequencies depending on the kind of thought that it is. How many of you knew that? How many of you use that idea in your daily life? 2 of you. All right, maybe a few more. Okay, so these thoughts vibrate, and when one comes into our mind, the divine law is activated if you hold it in consciousness for 17 seconds, according to Esther Hicks. 17 seconds, you hold one thought in your mind. It's long enough to attract a similar thought. So I read again recently that the brain bends toward negative thinking. It bends toward protecting itself, and if we aren't paying attention, in 17 seconds, we're going to have another thought and another thought that's all about protecting ourselves or judging another. So that thought comes in and another thought comes in. You might maybe you saw something on the news that you didn't like. And you probably listened for 17 seconds, I'm guessing, holding that thought. So all of a sudden the brain just kicks in and it starts to bring you more thoughts, even if the newscaster doesn't share it with you. You're starting to think on your own about that situation until pretty soon it gets so bad in your thoughts that it creates a feeling. And that's what happens next with our energy of thought. Hold it long enough, it attracts more of them. Suddenly we're believing this thing enough that we start to feel the energy of that thought in our emotions. And once we get to those feelings, we got to let them out, so we start talking about them, about our problems. And as those feelings get stronger and we start talking about them, we start acting on them. And the way that the law works is what? What happens after you start thinking and feeling and talking about and acting on them? What happens? You're going to manifest them. They're going to become solid things in your life. So this thinking is not the power, but here's our power related to thinking. We can choose what we think about. That's where your spirit of power comes in. You can choose what you think about. So I'm not going to say that we're going to be able to stop a thought from coming in, but we can choose what we're going to think about. And the problem is that if we don't pay attention, it could be the negative thought coming in and creating the negative thought, as Jesus said, because he said that every good tree bears good fruit and every bad tree bears bad fruit. Okay, so that's the way the law works. So what am I going to do about it? The ego will misuse this at every opportunity. It will misuse that power, and it has a lot to do with our own self-image. We start using it early on, the ego gets formed and starts using our thinking against ourselves by simply just looking around and seeing what's going on. It gets formed by our parents, it gets formed with the help of our peers, it gets formed with the help of what culture we're brought up in. And I'm guessing many of you walked into school and it didn't take very long for someone to notice that you were different in body or in emotions or in mind and began to bully you for that, to where the pain became hard to bear and created a belief system in you that you're unworthy, and you may still carry that around today in your adulthood. That's how powerful our thoughts can be. Maybe it's the fact that our parents were raised by parents who were raised by parents and parents and parents, who none of which got support from their parents, because no parent really understood their own self-worth, so they didn't know how to teach it to their children. And so we learned early on that we're not worthy of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We're not good enough, and that unworthiness can still come forth in us today. That's the tyranny of the ego at work in us, depriving us from our life and our liberty and our pursuit of happiness. So let's talk about ways that we can choose our thoughts so that we can experience those inalienable rights and powers. And we've got 5 of them to look at today up here on the screen. We're going to start with number 1. First of all, pay attention. Please pay attention to your inner landscape, which means what are you thinking about and how are you feeling? If we every 2 or 3 days just sat for 5 minutes by ourselves and said, so in the last 2 or 3 days, what has been my dominant thoughts and feelings? What have they been about? That would go so far in waking us up to, oh, I have a power that can change that if it didn't feel good, right? Pay attention to what you're thinking and feeling and notice. Like I said, you're not going to be able to stop every thought, but once you notice it, you have a chance to change it. You have a chance to actually choose something that feels better instead. So my favorite statement that will help you get there is, when you notice you're thinking negative thoughts and feeling negative feelings, what would I prefer instead? Say that with me. What would I prefer instead? Say it again. What would I prefer instead? See, what you're doing is you're just teaching the subconscious. You're just filling it up with a new question. That is so easy. A child could do it. Why don't we? It's not brain surgery. A child could do it. Well, part of the problem is, our second step here is about choosing your surroundings. Who do you hang out with? Are they supporting your infinite possibilities? I went to our business meeting of the annual conference of Unity Worldwide Ministries. It was scheduled from 9 to noon, but I think by the time we got out of there, it was almost 2. Long story. But at one point, our CEO, Shad Groverland, had a chance to speak. And the thing that he wanted to talk about was the epidemic of depression, of loneliness, of unworthiness, isolation that human beings are experiencing today, especially Americans. And he turned towards social media as being a big cause of that. And the addiction that comes with social media and whatever is on your devices, and how much of it is promoting negativity. Well, it's not necessarily the platform itself, but it gives a platform to people who tend to think like their brain thinks, towards the negative. And if we're not paying attention, we can easily get caught up in it, and the next thing you know, we're thinking the same thoughts and feeling the same feelings and typing out the same words, and taking actions and suddenly creating that in our life. And he had some thoughts about what we as Unity could do, which I won't take time to talk about today. But my point is, are you lost in that and you don't even know it? Excuse me. Are you? We can do that not in isolation. We can do it with each other. We can go out after a Sunday service, get a drink, just kidding. We can hang out with people after work. And if it turns out that this is a gang who's unhappy with their boss or unhappy with the company they work for, then the time spent together is all about how miserable we are. And even if you're not there, you will be soon. Until now, you're at work and you're miserable. Yes. So pay attention to your surroundings and instead choose to hang out with people and in environments that support higher thoughts. This is how we start to create that which is life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Talking about how the law of attraction works, I attracted something from Suzanne Giesman that she wrote in her emails this week. She's a writer and used to work for the Joint Chiefs of Staff and was, flying over the Pentagon when it was being blown up on 9/11. And she has transformed her life to become a channeler. So one of the things that she wrote here was, trust spirit in all things. You've learned not to trust other humans, and at times this is well warranted, for many is the human who has shut off their awareness of their inner guiding light. But this light is within you. In point of fact, it is you at your deepest level. As you come to know this, the web of interconnections of which you are a part reveals itself. Trust the web to support you. Trust that all is well no matter what. Now, when she talks about web, we're not talking about the internet, not the World Wide Web. She's talking about the web, the omnipresence, the oneness of God that connects us all. And that in that is the spirit of light that we are. So instead of getting caught up with a friend or a not-so-friend who has shut off their light, let's focus on what is of spirit. Find people who know that about themselves and hang out together. Choose your surroundings. And number 3 is, in order to be awake during your surroundings, make time for stillness and study. We talked about stillness last week, how to get into the silence, the secret place of the Most High, and allow time every day for meditation. Doctors, counselors telling us that this is the kind of activity that will slow your thoughts down so that the ego tends to worry less and less about sickness and aging and relationships and money, and the worry starts to dissipate. Give yourself a spiritual idea to focus on, of love, of supply, of creativity. Spend 17 seconds in meditation focusing on that idea. And as those ideas begin to expand in your mind, give some more space between them until you're letting spirit do the thinking for you. And it helps to do study, spiritual study. The fact that you're sitting here this morning or watching online about these particular ideas is healthy because it's going to remind you of how the universe works. It's going to talk about those spiritual principles that are working whether you know it or not. So let's figure out how to use them for good. Study spiritual ideas, the things that we teach, that God is the only power in the universe, and that is good. to acknowledge that we are spiritual beings having a human experience instead of some victim or helpless human being. Listen, read, discuss, think about spiritual principles so that when you go out into the world and something appears to be a wall to your good, you know that's not what is true, that's not where the power is. And use your spirit of power to think it through differently. Use that time to study and be in stillness. And also, one of my favorite ways of being is to use your imagination. So the fourth idea is to use your imagination along with your words to help develop life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness in your consciousness. We're not talking about using it to take control of other people. We're talking about using it to change who you are. Most of the time we use our imagination to talk about or think about or picture what we don't want. But here we have this free platform that no one else can infiltrate unless you let it, to picture what you prefer instead. There it is again. What would I prefer instead? What does it look like? And use words that talk about it. Because your vocal words are just a loud thought. And it's got the energy and the power to do even greater work because it's stronger in energy. So use your words. Notice what you're talking about. Many times we will be in the midst of a juicy drama with somebody in conversation. I'm asking you to notice that. Catch yourself mid-sentence. Stop it as soon as you notice it. And ask, what would I prefer instead? Say that with me. What would I prefer instead? Your words have power to bring you down, to shut you off from your life and your liberty, or to set you free. Notice what you're talking about, and then get that picturing power going about what you prefer instead. It's fun. Why wouldn't we want to do this? When you think about it, a worry is something in your mind, you're imagining, that hasn't happened yet. And so are your dreams. They haven't happened yet. So if you have a choice, and it's a crapshoot as to which one's going to come about, I'll tell you, the one that you give more attention to has a better chance of manifesting. So why wouldn't you want to think about something that's fun, that offers infinite possibilities? You're in charge. You get to choose that. And lastly, step number 5 is to saturate yourself in the feeling of appreciation. The feeling of what I adore in life, what I like. Last time I drove down to Peoria to visit my sister, my brothers, just nothing to think about or do while I was driving except use my imagination. I saturated myself in appreciation. I like it when the sky is blue. I like it when my car is working without fail. I like it when I have a chance to spend time with my family. I like it when I have some time off from work. Yes, I swear I do. I like it when I have some time off from work. I like it when I have some time off from work. Yeah, talk about what you like. And when your mind starts to go thinking about things that you don't like, saturate it in appreciation. Well, here's what I like instead. Here's what I would love. I would really appreciate it if. Wouldn't it be nice if? Wouldn't it be nice if? And then start appreciating the possibility of that. How fun is that? How freeing is that? It's something that any of us can do. Start your day with appreciation and let that energy keep you focused on life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness. We've learned, some of you have learned from Jessica in the past, but we're going to get a refresher lesson, so let's take a look at Jessica on how to do this.
Look, I can be a shark. Now, my whole house is great. I can do anything good. I like my school. I like anything. I like my dad. I like my cousins. I like my aunts. I like my Allisons. I like my mom. I like my sisters. I like my dad. I like my hair. I like my haircuts. I like my pajamas. I like my stuff. I like my rooms. I like my whole house. My whole house is great. I can do anything good. Yeah. I can do anything good. Better than anyone. Better than anyone.
Yes. Thank you, Jessica, for the reminder. Yeah. So our true freedom starts in here and in front of the mirror. You might try that. In your pajamas, standing on the sink. See if that doesn't just liven things up a little bit. But this is where our true freedom comes, not by controlling your circumstances or the people outside of you, controlling your inner ego, controlling the thoughts that you think. Stop giving power to what's outside of yourself and keep turning within to where your true power is, changing your thoughts. If you could just turn towards God first and remember, this is a power that's infinite. It is the one source that supplies infinitely. It loves me. It's working for my good. And there's nothing that can keep me from it. Think about that. Believe that. Feel that. Talk about that. Act on that. Manifest that. Let's do that in meditation, shall we? Before we go, though, let me offer this affirmation to say together up here on the screen. I have power to choose my thoughts and create a life of freedom. So let's go do that, shall we? A good opportunity for us to just train the mind, renew the thoughts. It happens from inside out. So I'm going to invite you to close your eyes, to turn away from the outside. And we'll ease the distraction of the body by breathing deeply. And another deep breath, relaxing as we release. Feeling our shoulders dropping and our hands opening. And our feet comfortable on the floor. And our chair is fully supporting us. One more breath, full, free, releasing, letting go. I know in this moment the presence of good. Presence of God, of Source, of Creator. The omnipresence. In this moment and every moment, I know this presence working for good. It knows only love. And sees only good. I am loved. I am good. I am spirit. Free to express my spiritual truth. I'm so grateful to know that in this moment, love is working for me. And nothing can keep me from it. allow that presence of love to organize and attract my good. I allow my thoughts to think of love, the power in me to see only good. To share only good. To be only good. In this everywhere present spirit that I am an expression of, I know the infinite flow of divine substance in my life and in all human beings. I appreciate God's infinite supply flowing through me and through all human beings. I appreciate that every need is met in this infinite flow of substance, this stream of good flowing through me. I celebrate the presence of life, the eternal life that never ends in me. This life is vibrant, renewing, empowering, uplifting. I am one with this presence of life, celebrating, expressing, creating God's infinite, eternal life in manifestation. My happiness is assured as I hold these truths to be self-evident. God is the only power working in my life. I and God are one. And all that I need is provided. This is the truth of my being, and now I let it be. Thank you, God. Amen. This is where you should be lighting the fireworks, or at least smacking the caps. I know that most of us don't sit around on 4th of July and think about 1776 and all that went into it. We're more interested in the hot dogs, but it's an opportunity for us to just think about freedom and how no matter what country we live in, what body we live in, what relationships we have, we are free. We are free to be the truth of spirit. So I'll just encourage you to hold that in consciousness during this time together. Enjoy it. And we take time in our service every week as an opportunity to be free in your giving. When you know who your source of good is, it's an opportunity for you to just be an extension of that good. That's the only way that Spirit can provide, is to share with one another. So if the community is useful to you, if you are supported by it, I encourage you to share that good with us today, and you can do that online at unityinnaperville.org. If you like to write checks, you can mail it to our P.O. Box 9733 in Naperville, and the zip is 60567. There's also a donate button on our Facebook page. We're grateful however it comes, whatever it is, and we encourage you to bless whatever you share first. So let's do the blessing together up here on the screen. Together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, all that I receive, and I am grateful. Thank you. Ushers, will you come, please?
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
Good morning. I'm Diane Pitterly, and I'll be sharing the announcements today. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome. We're glad you're here. Be sure to pick up a welcome packet from the table by the front door. To find out what's happening at Unity, sign up for our weekly e-news or for Kitty's New Thoughts email on our homepage at unityinnaperville.org. If you were born in July, let us help celebrate your birthday. Please forward a photo along with your name and your birthday by Thursday, and we'll sing to you next Sunday. Email your photo and information to admin@unityinnaperville.org. Our backroom discussion with online viewers will be meeting monthly with Reverend Kitty next Sunday and August 13th. Monday Morning Metaphysics meets tomorrow at 10:30. The group is reading The Eye of the Storm by Gary Simmons. Each week is standalone, so drop in anytime. Join your Unity peeps for a concert featuring Seventh Heaven at River Edge Park in Aurora. This Friday, July 7th, we will meet at River Edge Park at 6:45 p.m. The concert begins at 8. Tickets are $5. See the event calendar for more details. Throughout July, we are collecting backpacks and school supplies to help the children of grandparents raising grandchildren prepare for the school year. A list of backpacks and supplies needed is available in the front room and in the e-news. Monetary donations and gift cards are also welcome. To donate online, enter school supplies as the donation reason. Prayer chaplains are available to pray with you by phone or in the prayer room after the service. Email your name and phone number to prayer@unityinnaperville.org, and a prayer chaplain will call you by 1 p.m. today. We have excess sanctuary chairs available for free. If interested, please see Reverend Kitty after the service. Also, if you can help dispose of old paint cans or chafing dish warmers, please see Kitty after the service. For details on all of our events, see the event calendar at unityinnaperville.org. For questions, email admin@unityinnaperville.org.
Well, I invite you to stand as you're able for our closing song. Go ahead, Kevin, start us off. There you go. May we go forth into this week in the, what is the word? Inalienable power of our source. God is indeed our source. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. Love is my source. Love is my power. Love gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Love gives me everything I need. What joy? Joy is my source. Joy is my power. Joy gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Joy gives me everything I need. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything. Thank you, God. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything. Yes, everything. Thank you, God. That I need.
Okay, let's take a breath. And let's know this truth for ourselves. See, they know how to firework. Okay, together. I have power to choose my thoughts and create a life of freedom. That is so true about us. Just remember it. Just remember it. Think of Jessica. She will help. Before you go today, would you please find somebody that you haven't met yet or you can't remember their name and own up to it? Introduce yourselves. Come out front for some goodies. Have a fun 4th of July. Eat lots of hot dogs that are, never mind. Just eat. Eat whatever feels right and true for your system. And I look forward to seeing you next time, okay? Have a great week, you guys. Love you.
Hello, online folks who are still there. So we'll do a song, since we're heading to the 4th of July, called I Am Free. So online, thank you so much for spending the time with us. Oh, okay, and you in the room too. I'm not ignoring you. Here you go. I am free. I am free to be the Christ in expression. I am free. I am free to be the Christ. We'll sing that again. Oh, I am free. I am free to be the Christ in expression. I am free. Hey! I am free to be the Christ in expression. My wisdom lets me know the guidance of my soul. My will sets the way. My heart knows I must take. My heart knows I must take. Oh, I am free. I am free to be the Christ in expression. I am free. I am free to be the Christ in my flesh. expression. My faith lets me see the Christ I'm free to be. My power chooses thoughts that only raise me up, that only raise me up. Oh, I am free. I am free to be, the Christ in expression. I am free. I am free to be, the Christ in expression. My power to say no releases what must go. My love sets me free to be the good I seek. Oh, I am the good I seek. Oh, I am free. I am free to be, the Christ in expression. I am free. I am free to be, the Christ in expression. Yay! Thank you, my friends.
Yes, that's right.